I hope I remembered this right. Hello everyone and welcome to the snack bar. It's been a long time.
It
Very
has.
long.
Whoever's listening out there, I feel like we're screaming into the void, but I have missed this so much. Gerry, tell us your name.
All right. My name is Gerry. What's your name?
I'm Jedd. I'm Jedd Young. And yeah, we have not done this for a while. And you've been busy. And I understand that I've been busy too. But I felt like I really wanted to close the year out with a nice, good, cathartic snack bar. Yeah, we could just get everything out. And honestly, 2017 has been such a great year for movies. I had a lot of fun this year. A lot of good things came out.
Well, I'm glad you had fun. I couldn't have as much fun as you had because I barely watched any. I only watched blockbusters, which is kind of sad because the whole point of me starting this podcast was so that I would actually go out and watch, more movies besides blockbusters, but they're the only ones that I can watch and because they're always, at the right time.
Yeah,
but,
before
Maybe
doing
next
this
year.
job, I only watched blockbusters as well, so if that's any consolation.
Yeah, so hopefully next year, if I do pass my school, I can watch more movies. And besides, it's Oscar season soon, so I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, we're buckling down for that. All the best, Gerry, with your school and all the stuff. Thanks for doing this. I know you're busy and this is a busy time of year, so thanks for putting on a special snack bar for us.
It's alright.
Okay, so the reason we're doing this episode is because we're talking about The Last Jedi, which is the new Star Wars movie that's out.
Yeah. When did you see it?
I saw it 5 times. So the first.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I asked when, but okay, that's a better answer to be honest.
The first time I saw it was probably Tuesday the 12th, so that's 2 days before it came out. And then I saw it on the 13th, on the 14th. And then I saw it twice on holiday in Malaysia with my family.
Probably cost less than a ticket here in Singapore.
You know what's amazing? An IMAX 3D ticket, we saw it in Penang. That costs 8 Sing dollars to watch a movie in IMAX 3D.
Yeah, we watched The Hobbit in IMAX 3D as well. It's a good thing we did because it was the one where I fell asleep in. So I didn't feel like I was wasting that much money.
Yeah, the first
no, the second one.
The second one, okay. The second one is the one with Smaug.
Yes.
Yes.
And I slept through that.
And then the third one is the one with Legolas platforming.
Yes.
That's how I classify them. The first one is the one with the variety show singing around the campfire. Okay, anyway.
I like the first one. Okay, alright, let's go to Last Jedi again.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff. Do you want to talk about some of the other things that I've seen? Or do we want to dive into Last Jedi?
I guess we can do 2-liners on the movies that we watched.
Yeah.
Or highlights of the movies that we watched.
Okay, I recently saw, what did I recently see? I saw Bleeding Steel, which is a stupid Jackie Chan science fiction movie that is very bad.
Can I say something about that movie?
Yeah.
Because I watched 3 movies within 2 days, and all 3 of them, Golden Village was promoting them like crazy, so they came before the film.
Yes, because
and it looks so bad.
It's so bad. It's hilarious. It's very funny. It's very funny bad.
Okay.
Yeah, because it doesn't know what it wants to be, and Jackie Chan clearly doesn't fit whatever it is they're trying to do. What about the 3?
What's it called?
Taken? Sorry?
So it's basically Taken, right?
It's not. There is a father and daughter element, but there are cyborgs and blasters and mechanical organs and a henchwoman in a pleather cape, and the villain looks like if Mr. Freeze had a love child with the Borg from Star Trek Next Generation. It looks like he acts like he's in Power Rangers Cullen Multiverse, and it's very awkward and bad. There's a comic relief hacker sidekick played by Shou Luo who is so annoying, so annoying. But there is a fight on the rooftop of the Sydney Opera House, so watch it for that.
They showed in the ad, so I don't think I have to do anything.
Yeah, they kept trying to push that as a big thing, but when you watch it, it's honestly a little bit disappointing because they clearly had to abide by certain safety regulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of like a very controlled, very restrained fight.
Okay. So don't watch that. And I don't think anyone was planning to unless you're a huge Jackie Chan fan.
Yeah. What are the 3 movies you watched, excluding, I suppose, The Last Jedi?
Star Wars, yeah. I watched Jumanji.
Oh, so did I.
Which was really fun.
Yeah, we both liked it. It's a good video game movie.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I like how it plays with the mechanics, NPCs, power-ups, things like that. It was really fun.
Yeah, so to make a good video game movie, don't base it off any video games.
They
did that with Wreck-It Ralph.
We cracked the code, yeah.
Yeah, and now Jumanji. And I kind of wish Jumanji went to... And Tron? Tron is based off a video game, isn't it?
It's not.
Oh, the video game was based off the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, Jumanji, I thought it was really, really fun. The whole cast was so good together. The only thing I really wish that film had was it was more specific with the games it was referencing to, because this was more of a broad perspective of what arcade games or video games in general is. And I really wish they went to more specific games, but I guess they didn't want to pay any royalty fees or whatever, so...
I think they also didn't necessarily want to... they wanted to keep in with how the original Jumanji didn't specifically reference any board games, I guess. So it was more like playing with the structure of a video game versus the structure of a board game.
Yeah, and Nick Jonas was surprisingly good in this.
I didn't like him. He was the only thing I didn't like.
like him. Okay. To be fair, that's because I used to be a Jonas Brothers fan.
Okay, I'm still angry at him for his performance as Marius in the 25th anniversary Les Miserables concert.
Oh yeah, I don't watch that.
I cannot forgive him for that. Sorry, Nick Jonas. Okay, Karen Gillan was so spectacular. She was so much fun. The physicality of the role. She's great. I want her to be in more stuff. Please put her in more things.
I'm sure she'll be.
And Jack Black was very, very funny. Like, he sold it so much that he was this like teenage girl. It was so great. Yeah, good movie, fun movie. Silly movie. A bit too many dick jokes, I think.
I don't really remember any dick jokes, but I really liked this movie, and my audience loved it too.
Yeah,
they were having a great time, laughing at all the jokes.
There's one moment where someone explodes, and everyone just lost it. It was great.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think, it's great. It's a good movie. I mean, it's for kids mainly, but if you're an adult watching it, I think you can appreciate it for how, especially if you like the actors, how much fun everyone is having in the film.
Yeah, everyone looks like they enjoyed making it, and I think that sells it, because on its face, it's kind of generic. It is a very linear quest plot, but it is the actors and the way they sell it and the way they're playing two characters. They're playing the avatar and the kid controlling the avatar. So that makes it kind of interesting, yeah.
And the other film I watched was Justice League. I fell asleep in that, but for everything that I saw, I liked it. Yeah. And I liked it too. And can I just say, I like Superman as a character. So it's always nice to see him. It's not a spoiler. Everyone knows that he's coming back. So, yeah. I wouldn't recommend Justice League, but I had fun.
Were you bothered by the mustache?
The mustache only happened in one scene, right?
It's not really that bad. No, it happened in a lot of scenes, but I honestly think people were making too big a deal out of it.
Yeah.
On purpose, yeah. It's noticeable, but it's not the end of the world. It's not like Microsoft Paint. People are acting like it was Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, I think... I really wish that they just given him a mustache. But there was some past, Superman, so I guess that's... I just hate the reason why they didn't delay the production, and it's because of the bonuses and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, Paramount was being kind of dickish to Warner's, because Warner said we will pay for whatever cost you need to do cosmetics, whatever. And Paramount was like, no, we are going to make him keep the mustache. And Warner's is like, okay, I guess.
And I don't understand, like, why can't they just, put on a fake mustache?
Exactly,
okay,
yeah.
Whatever.
That would be easier than... Adding a fake mustache is easier than removing a real one.
Yeah.
In any case, yeah, I like Justice League. I felt that it was very obviously a movie that had been cut up, that had been truncated. And there was a two-headed monster, because is Zack Snyder's head and Joss Whedon's head, and both heads are not always pointing in the same direction. So I look at it and I see a lot of potential of what it could have been. I'm a little bit disappointed, but I enjoyed it. I think it was okay for what it was. Within the parameters, given the difficulties they had, given, how hard a journey the DCEU has been having so far, I was okay.
Yeah.
That's
I think
fine.
it's getting a lot of hate, which, it's a little bit unwarranted, but okay.
Yeah, I think it's skewed because it's not a brilliant movie, but I think people wanna hate it.
Okay, so what else did you watch? I've mentioned 2 movies. The other one I watched was Thor, which was fun, but let's not talk about that. What have you watched, Jedd, that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I watched this movie called Molly's Game, which is
Okay.
really, really good. It's the directorial debut of Aaron Sorkin, and it stars Jessica Chastain. It's based on a true story, very Oscar-y, but at the same time it is very Sorkin-y, where everyone is talking real fast at each other, everyone's fighting but verbally, and there's so many zingers, everyone's trying to outsnug each other, and the style is quite dynamic, it moves very fast. It's an interesting story, it's got all those elements of crime and intrigue and glamour, and it's about a lady who ran this high-stakes poker game that was attended by Hollywood celebrities and business tycoons and sports stars, and eventually she got embroiled with the FBI because there was like the Russian mafia involved and Italian mafia involved. So this is all like an actual thing that happened to an actual woman. So this woman is played by Jessica Chastain, and she is brilliant in it because totally up her alley. She's very good at playing powerful women who use their sex appeal to wield control over others, but who are very aware of that and do not like lose sight of their ultimate objective. So she's very, very good at that kind of character, and I can see why she wanted to do this.
So great film. Do you think it's gonna get any Oscar? I mean, besides Best Actress, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe writing. I'm not sure.
Writing, yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, because I mean, at the same time, there are people who are very disillusioned with Aaron Sorkin. Like once you've heard some of his lines, you know how the rest of it's gonna go. But Idris Elba is very good in it. He plays a lawyer, and he's actually a very passive role, so very much a backseat to Jessica Chastain. Kevin Costner plays her dad. Michael Cera plays Player X, who is a thinly veiled, version of a real celebrity. So you can Google who the real guy is supposed to be, and you can see how close Michael Cera is to him. But once you read about the things this real guy did, such a dick, man. This actor, awful person. So he was a huge star in the early 2000s and was in a superhero franchise. Those are the clues. Yeah. So Michael Cera is supposed to be this guy, and he tries. I don't think he's brilliant at it, but it works. It's okay.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna let you take the reign in this because you're the Star Wars guy, and I am the ambivalent to Star Wars girl. So go on, Jedd. What's Star Wars The Last Jedi about?
So Star Wars The Last Jedi is episode 8 in the main line of films. This picks off immediately where episode 7, The Force Awakens, left off. So Rey has gone to go find Luke Skywalker, who has been in self-imposed exile on the planet Ahch-To. So she goes and she brings him his lightsaber, and he's very reluctant to train her. And we find out that he's really been haunted by his past failures because he trained Kylo Ren, who's played by Adam Driver. Sorry, Mark Hamill plays Luke Skywalker, Daisy Ridley plays Rey. So he doesn't want a repeat of that. But Rey is insistent that he is the one to show her the ways of the Jedi. In the meantime, the Resistance, led by General Leia Organa, played by Carrie Fisher, they're on their last legs. They're down to very few personnel. All their ships are being hunted by the First Order. And you've got hotshot pilot Poe Dameron, played by Oscar Isaac. He wants to go in and blow everything up, but that's not necessarily the wisest path of action. So this puts him in conflict with Vice Admiral Holdo, played by Laura Dern, who is kind of like, I'm going to pull back and we're not going to directly engage the First Order, and Poe doesn't understand why. So in the meantime, Finn, the defected stormtrooper, played by John Boyega, he teams up with Resistance engineer Rose, played by Kelly Marie Tran, and they go on this undercover mission to get these codes that they need in order to infiltrate the First Order installation. So they need to get there so that they can disable a thing and help the Resistance escape something else, etc., etc. So that's more or less the plot of The Last Jedi.
Yes. how about we do like a 10-minute non-spoiler, 40-minute or half an hour spoiler, and then just rant the whole way through.
Sure. Okay.
Because,
because I have a lot of practice avoiding spoilers for this movie. I wrote 1,000-word spoiler-free review. So I'm doing cartwheels to avoid spoilers. So I don't like it when people casually give away spoilers on principle, because I work so hard to not.
Like Variety? Was it Variety that spoiled some stuff?
I don't know who it was, man, but I feel like, it's a challenge. It's something you have to practice and learn, and I'm not saying that I'm the best at it, but I feel like I try to analyze something and not give everything away.
Yeah, so as a Star Wars fan, did you enjoy this film?
I love this movie. This movie, it had me shook, to use the parlance of the times. #can't. No, it's
I can't even.
Yeah, can't even. Oh my god. Yeah, so it's really, really overwhelming. It sort of comes at you in waves, and it washes over you, and you're sort of almost drowned by the end of it. You're like, what just happened? So many surprising things are sort of unleashed at you, and you need to sleep on it. It's a movie that you need to think about. It's a movie that you need to process. I think it's a movie you need to watch again, because when I watch it again, I feel like it did get better the second time, and I think it got better the third time, and then it stayed the same for the fourth and the fifth. So I love this movie, and yeah, I know there are people who hate it, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But let me say this: there are people who say if you're a real Star Wars fan, you'll hate this movie. So let's not know true Scotsman this. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was 9. I've seen all the movies multiple times. I've read some of the expanded universe stuff. I love watching behind the scenes things about how the movies were made. I count myself a true enough fan, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was my reaction to it.
Well, for me, I did not like this film at all.
Interesting.
And the weird part is, people said that this is not what Star Wars fans want, but I kind of disagree. It feels like a very Star Wars film, and to me, it's everything that I do not care for. In 2.5 hours, like it's a love story that I don't care for. It's like about the Force and stuff like that, or someone honing their powers, which I don't care for. I think a lot of the problem with me and Star Wars is that when you're, a kid, your imagination runs wild. And I think what Star Wars does extremely well is that it builds this world for you, and it leaves a lot of things up to your imagination, like, whoa, what's this character's backstory, what's that character's backstory. And when you're a bitter 17-year-old watching this film, and you've seen a little bit, more mature films, and you're watching this, and you have all the hype with you since day one, and you watch it and you're like, this is kind of nonsense. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say nonsense, but this is kind of a little bit too much of a fantasy for me to appreciate, because I can watch something like Back to the Future where it is crazy, but it is fun. But Star Wars feels so of its time, and it's so not geared towards adults. I'm sorry, but and then you watch this and you're like, it's sort of like Empire again, where people do similar things. Of course, they do things to avert, the same trope.
To subvert the same tropes.
Yeah, but it feels the same to me, and I think this was when I realized that I didn't care for anyone. No one in the new cast, no one in the old cast. I love seeing the actors, and I'm glad to see, Mark Hamill again. But that's because I like him as the Joker, and not because I like him as Luke Skywalker.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, and I just, this film, it didn't do anything for me. In fact, when I went out of it, I was kind of upset because I felt like I wasted 2.5 hours of my time, because it felt like nothing really happened, and what happened I wasn't really satisfied with, and there wasn't any payoff that I thought was worth my time, and I should have just waited until episode 9 came out, and maybe I can just marathon through that, and it'll be a more satisfying.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
And it'll be a bit more satisfying ending. And there are some things that the characters do that I just find so inexcusable, and I don't understand why they do the things that they did when, some people can just communicate. And I heard like the excuse for that is, this film is all about that theme. I can't say it because that's a spoiler, but I think you might as well just say that for every film where no one communicates and stupid things happen because they don't communicate. Okay, yeah, that's my rant.
All right, so I enjoyed hearing your perspective because you're coming at it as someone who isn't necessarily a fan of Star Wars, and I think a lot of the criticism I've heard is from people who are very, very much fans of Star Wars. So you're, if I'm not wrong, you only watched the movies recently-ish.
Yes, five
Yeah.
years ago. Is that
Right?
recent?
No, so I mean that it kind of makes sense because I mean Star Wars is a fantasy. It was originally geared towards kids. It was meant to be kind of a space opera. It was a throwback to what George Lucas grew up with. It was a throwback to Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, things like that. So it has since taken on a life of its own. We are now in the 40th year of the franchise's existence. So there are people who are very attached to this. There are people to whom it means a lot. I think, I mean, I don't want to sound like this is not me trying to be vindictive, and I'm not saying that exactly the same argument can be made, but I guess if an adult goes to Harry Potter, and it's kind of like, I don't get it. So I think that's similar.
I totally understand that.
You know what I mean, right? And it's not that, but for you, that holds so much meaning. So for so many people, Star Wars holds so much meaning. And I think it's a double-edged sword because this movie, it works very hard to subvert expectations, to go in directions you wouldn't expect, and that's going to make people angry. But at the same time, I think that we're seeing a lot of fan entitlement. We're seeing a lot of people think that the movie owes them something, that there's a certain obligation that it has to go the way you want it. But it's funny because these are the same people who blame Disney for everything and saying Disney is a big corporation, Disney is evil. Okay, so many scummy things Disney has done that I disagree with, alright? I disagree with their basic chokehold on the area of Anaheim. I disagree with them blocking Los Angeles Times reporters on their screenings for calling them out on Anaheim. I disagree with the increased box office take that they want for Star Wars. I disagree with them lying about the Lion King not being a ripoff of Kimba. I disagree with all of these things. However, when people complain about Disney, I think that they're just looking for, that's just an easy target to throw everything at. Yeah, it's a big target. Star Wars was in horrible shape, the franchise as a whole, before Disney picked them up. The Clone Wars movie that was very bad was theatrically released in 2008. And then George Lucas was like, I don't know what else to do with this, so I'm just going to re-release all the movies one by one in 3D. That was going to happen. So I think the franchise is way better off for Disney having their hands on it. And I think that this is a risky movie. This is far away from a family-friendly, safe production line product. I think The Force Awakens, as much as I love that, was way closer to that. The Force Awakens was comfort food, and this is something very, very different. This is bitter, this is sour, but I thought it tasted interesting. So that's my take on it, and I think that Rian Johnson, man, that is the stuff that he did, how far he went with it, and the justifications that there are for what he did, I totally buy into it. I think that he made a lot of right decisions. He made some decisions I disagree with, some decisions I disagreed with initially, and then when I thought about it later, I was like, that's genius. So, yeah, I'm in the camp that loves this movie, and I think there's so much to unpack. I was totally invested in a lot of the characters. I cried quite a bit. And I think that what they did to certain characters from the original trilogy, sure, it wasn't what people thought would happen, but it made sense in the larger arc, and it made sense serving the theme of the film.
Okay. We should go ahead with spoilers because...
Yeah,
so overall, you love the film, I didn't, and I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I can't say anything because I feel like everyone in the world is a Star Wars fan.
No, but it's the same thing with me and like Game of Thrones or Harry Potter. I mean, I'm the only movies that I've seen are 1, 2, and Fantastic Beasts.
Oh wow. Okay, but if you are not a Star Wars fan, I still recommend this because I truly think that there's something wrong with me. So
no, there isn't
go watch
anything
it and
wrong
form your
with
own
you.
opinion.
And in fact, your issues with the film, I find you've reasoned them. Maybe I'm speaking too fast because we're not in spoilers yet, but the way you've backed them up is so much more satisfying to me than the people who are just whining and flailing and yelling on the internet. I mean, I literally had someone defend slavery in the comment section for my review.
Like, okay, so that's a good way to to go to spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers.
Spoiler alert. So what was that defending slavery thing about?
Yeah, okay, this is fun. So apparently the people who love Trump hate this movie because this movie has Asian people, it has black people, it has women in charge, it has white guys being fallible, and it has the rich exploiting the poor. It has Canto Bight.
Yeah.
So this person did not like that, the horses were shown being abused. He did not like that the little stable kids were shown being heroes. He didn't like that because apparently that's the way Trump supporters think. So, and this is the gang of people who are like SJWs are ruining Star Wars. This is that group.
Yes.
So that's ultimately when you slide down the slippery slope, at the bottom of that slope is I like slavery. Slavery is a good idea.
Yeah.
That
and
like
I want to. I'm not going to defend this guy, but I think that part was very. When I was watching it, I was thinking. Then again, you look at what the world nowadays, and I think the media is trying to paint a lot of rich people as snobs and stuff, which is kind of ironic because Disney is a giant corporation as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's full of those people.
Yeah.
But it's like, can I just say that part of the movie I thought was really dumb. And
you didn't
really
like Canto
boring.
Bight? I loved Canto Bight. I thought that
no,
was great.
because it felt like I was kind of hoping it was pod racing so it can meme itself, but it's not. And it really reminded me of the Phantom. I almost say Phantom Hourglass. Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace. Yes. So sorry, I was like thinking of Metal Gear Solid.
What
as
is
well.
Phantom Hourglass? What is that?
Oh, it's a Zelda game.
Okay.
Yeah.
We gotta mention Zelda every episode, you guys.
Wait, no, I've yet to mention that
I'm
when
kidding.
your rent comes.
No.
But
yeah.
I still want to mention Leonardo every single time we talk about about a movie.
I like that. That's the drinking game, right? For whoever's out there
Yeah.
watching this. Okay, sorry. Carry on, Canto Bight.
Yeah. So it just felt so cartoony to me. It's like, ooh, all rich people are evil, and here they are gambling and exploiting people. But I do like that one, the guy who betrayed them eventually, I forgot his name.
Benicio del Toro, DJ, yeah.
Yeah, DJ. Oh, okay, that's really simple.
He's not
but
named
I
in
really,
the film, but in the credits, he's credited as DJ. Yeah, it could be a code
okay,
name.
so
or whatever.
I like DJ a lot because he's right. Like these people here, even though they sell things. And that's the way they earn their money. They do sell things to the resistance as well. So I thought like that was a really good perspective on. I'm sorry, but Star Wars is most of the time very black and white. So it was really nice to have this gray area. So I thought that was a really cool addition. But even though the whole planet is all about these people are evil and they're abusing animals and all of them are like this. All rich people are like this. Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's what it was. Okay, the Canto Bight is interesting, alright? Because I think Star Wars has a slavery problem. This was pointed out by Bloomberg. Bloomberg did a piece before the movie came out saying that in episode 1, when Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Padme land on Tatooine, they only want to free Anakin. Because Qui-Gon thinks Anakin is the chosen one. They don't think slavery as a whole is that big a deal. So in Star Wars, we are always meant to feel sorry for the characters who are slaves, specifically only because they're the heroes of the story, like when Leia is enslaved by Jabba the Hutt. Okay, that's a problem because Leia is Leia. But there has never been a Spartacus. There has never been someone who has led an uprising to free the downtrodden, and we get that. We get Rose freeing Darth Thaddeus. We get Tamari Black, the little stable boy. We get a little bit of that. Like a tiny bit of that in Canto Bight, and that to me was very satisfying because what is one of the themes of Star Wars? It's always about those who outwardly appear weak being able to confound the mighty. It's a triumph of the underdog, and I like that a lot. I don't think Canto Bight, they were trying to say that every single person there was flat out evil. I think they were saying every person there was ultimately, whether they knew it or not, enabling that machine, because a lot of people go to horse races, right? Or go to bullfights, especially. They're not necessarily bad people, but they are creating an audience for that kind of exploitation, Mm-hmm. So that's what I think I was trying to say. I mean, Rose, her perception is colored because of the way her family was exploited. So she's not neutral, and we only hear her point of view, really. And then, there is that great moment where DJ shows Finn the diagram and saying, whoever owned this yacht, he sold the Sign-Off Fleet Systems and he also sold the Incom. So it's both the good guys and the bad guys. And I think the grayness in Star Wars, Rogue One, has come the closest to kind of fleshing that out. This one kind of tries. And I like what they did with Canto Bight. I'm kind of entertained by how angry a lot of people are at Canto Bight. Because I feel that
why are they angry at that?
people are angry at the sequence because they think, oh, it's useless, it's pointless, it wastes time. It's two characters in search of nothing. I don't think so. I think that maybe it does not directly serve the mechanics of the plot, but as in terms of texture, in terms of character, it felt so Star Wars to me, and it had a little bit of that Doctor Who, latter-day Doctor Who vibe when you saw like fancy aliens in suits gambling. That reminded me of like. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think this whole sequence was honestly just a setup for Hope. Like the slave kids. Were they slaves? I don't remember.
Yeah, they kind of are. I mean, yeah. I don't think.
Yeah,
they paid.
I think that the whole. I don't even know what the planet is called. The whole planet sequence was just like a passing of a torch, I guess, to show that there are people, even though they seem helpless, these people bring hope to them.
Yeah,
and that was the only thing I got, and they also needed DJ for plot reasons.
For plot reasons, yeah, and I mean, I think the freeing of the Fadias was a big moment for me, because that was like getting back at the man, back at and it was. I think what they did was actually not particularly destructive in the long run. I don't think it will hurt Canto Bight entirely, but it was a statement. It was a protest, and I kind of like that.
And to be honest, even if they destroyed the casino, it didn't really matter because those rich people will just go to another casino. So I don't think it's really hurting anyone but the casino owners.
No, yeah, I did not think it was meant to be like it was the closest to that kind of an uprising we've got, and for me that was good enough because Star Wars has had a slavery problem. I've never really noticed that. So
neither have I.
And I mean, it really is a triumph of the underdog thing. I really love this bit where they are all in their ski speeders on crate, right? And Poe Dameron puts his foot through the floor of the ski speeder. So it's like the good guys are these rickety things that are falling apart, and the bad guys have all this huge infrastructure, and they're going up against that. How are they gonna win? That's what Star Wars is to me, So I really like that. I really like that they always go back to the good guys have nothing, the bad guys have everything.
Do you like the Finn, since we're at that part, do you like the Finn and Rose relationship? Do you feel like they built that up enough?
Yes. I know people who don't like it, and I understand why they don't like it. Yeah, I know people don't like it. But I think that why deny her that? Why deny it? If that's what she wants, why deny that character that? That's not what defines the character. It's not what defines the character,
It's not, but I do have a feeling the reason why they went for this multiracial relationship, like between an Asian and a African American, it's because the internet was so clamoring for Poe and Finn that I think Disney kind of chickened out at that, so they decided to have this multiracial.
That is kind of like a consolation prize for Storm Pilot. Okay, I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, even if it is that, it probably is that. Even if it is that, I think it worked for her arc. I think she was trying to find a place to belong. She lost her sister.
She doesn't need him. I don't like that she's like, oh, I'm doing this for someone I love. I'm like, you barely know him. First of all, it's like only been a few days, and to be honest, I felt like, to be fair, my personal ship is Finn and Rey. Finn and Rey, right? Is that true? Yeah, Finn and Rey, and that's because they built that up in the first movie.
They had the Disney go on adventure thing, in Disney movies, whoever the girl goes on adventure with, that's who she ends up with.
And to be fair, this is what happened in this film as well. But I felt like, you can tell that they care so much, like especially Finn cared so much about her, and all he cared about was finding her and making sure that she's okay. And Rey found solitude in him because she was always so lonely, and finally there's this person here that she can have an adventure with and fulfill her dream of finding out what happened to her parents and of leaving that town or leaving that planet she was in. And I felt like that was way more interesting than whatever Finn and Rose had. Rose lost her sister, okay, but you can't look at Finn and be like, okay, you're my replacement for that love, I guess.
No, I
and
don't
Finn,
think that's what it was necessarily. But go ahead, yeah.
But and the only reason why Finn is on this mission is because he's trying to do it for Rey, who is off to God knows where. And I just felt like it was such a weird couple that they decided, like, even Poe and Finn I kind of get, but it didn't feel right. And it doesn't and it makes it worse because what they did, I understand that they had the right intention, but let's face it, in the end, what they were just plot points to make sure that the big evil knew that the resistance were escaping. That's why they were there, and that's why they were out on this goose chase, or wild goose chase. I'm not sure what the right phrasing is for that.
I mean,
and
I
in the
get
end,
where you're coming from.
It didn't pay off.
Okay, well, yeah, I get where you're coming from, but I think, like, I understand the idea of saying X character is a plot point and Y character is a plot point. And in some cases, that's truer than others, but I feel like you can say that for any character in anything, and it depends on your attachment to the character, and it's not... I think there's certain other factors, so, like, one person could see the character as just a plot point, another person could form a relationship to the character. So, with Rose, I think what they did... I love the character, first and foremost. I love how Kelly Marie Tran plays her. I like that we're seeing someone who's behind the scenes thrust to the forefront, and she's doesn't really know what to do with that. I love that she's competent. I love that she's motivated, she's driven. I love that she's a lot of life. She's very idealistic. She's a little bit silly. And she's young. She's still figuring things out. But she's not making stupid mistakes. The other thing is, I don't think we're confirming Rose and Finn super hard. I think there's a possibility. But she kisses Finn. Finn is confused. He doesn't know what to do with that. He's putting the blanket on her. He's confused. He doesn't know what to do with that. So here he is, and he's going to have to work through his feelings in 9. And Rey is going to have to work through her feelings in 9. And Oscar Isaac is going to be sexy to no one in particular in 9. So, yeah, so...
I think Adam Driver will be sexy to no one in particular in 9.
He'll be sexy angsty.
Shirtless, maybe.
Oh, that was so great. That was really funny. Anyway, I think that Rose and Finn is not a sure thing. If it does happen, I'm fine with it. If it doesn't, I like that they teased it. I know you feel strongly about this, and it's quite interesting because the very first episode we did was Deadpool, and he was so upset with the Vanessa arc, and I kind of see where you're coming from, that it was like, oh, you've just made this a typical the girlfriend kind of thing. But I don't think that's what Rose is there for. I think that I felt there was enough build-up. I thought it was cute.
No, trust me. I think Finn is the Vanessa of this relationship.
Yeah. I kind of like that. I like that he's at the same time he needs to be there. He knows to go to the laundry room and put the laundry basket on BB-8. Which is one of the best parts of the movie. Is like, your disguise is a laundry basket. Deal with it. Oh, so good.
Alright,
so we've kind of worked that out. I mean, I'm trying not to get worked up about this movie because I know you're not here defending slavery, and you're not here bashing Disney, and you're not here wanting to crucify Rian Johnson. So, I like what you said about Rose and Finn. I like your perspective, and I hope it doesn't sound like I'm trying to discredit or discount that,
No, it's good.
That's good, yeah.
Finn and Rey are better. Sorry. Okay, go on. Yeah. Speaking of Rey, let's talk about her. Maybe with Luke Skywalker and Adam Driver's character, whose name I forgot.
Yeah, the sort of triangle of power and influence that is like Rey, Luke, Kylo Ren. Okay, so people are angry with how Luke was treated in this movie. I love what they did with Luke's arc. I found it very, very moving. I think that it gave Mark Hamill the chance to give a performance like he has never ever given before, and that he probably was never even capable of giving. He found so much in this, and I respect that he told Rian Johnson, I disagree with how you're going to go about this, but I'm going to serve your vision, and I'm going to play the Luke that you wrote. I thought that was nice, and so many people took it out of context and like, Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill hates him in this movie. Mark Hamill hates Episode 8, and it's not true. That's not what Mark Hamill said. And I feel like more actors should have the chance to come out and say that. To say that I disagree with this, but I put in the work. And I respect that. I respect him for that. And okay, here's why he disagrees with it. Luke is not a messiah in this movie. He's not, descending from the clouds to light Rey's path. But what he said, it rung very true. Honestly, I felt it was very, very resonant because he has a disillusionment with the Jedi religion, but he has never lost faith in the Force. So I think that's an arc a lot of people go through. If you look at Luke in Episode 4, he's so naive and wide-eyed, and he holds the lightsaber with such awe and reverence. And now, 30 years later, he takes the lightsaber, he tosses it over his shoulder because he just doesn't want anything to do with that anymore. It's broken him so much. It's taken so much away from him. And I get that. I think a lot of people who do dedicate their lives to religious service feel that they have a crisis of faith. And for the hero, like the kind of Marty Steele, tabula rasa, he's the boring good guy of the original trilogy, to have that, I felt it was very
my favorite
powerful.
type of guy.
I felt it was very powerful for him to go through that arc, and it was so sad. I felt sad for the character. I felt the hurt that the character went through. I didn't want to see him so broken. I wanted to see him heroic, but I knew that that's what the character needed.
Yeah. No, I think that this is my favorite part of the film. The whole Luke, Rey, and Kylo Ren plot.
Yeah, and
I thought
think
this
that
was the most interesting part.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you too much, but if you were like a die-hard hardcore Star Wars fan, queued up for everything, you would not like that. So I think maybe that detachment from it gives you the objectivity to see this part of the movie in that way.
Yeah, I mean, because it felt like such a natural progression for me. When, you teach a student, and obviously this student has a bit of darkness in him because Anakin Skywalker, was his grandfather.
Yeah,
and I
scene,
think that
man,
there is
scene.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think because of that, you can tell there's a lot of regret that he had. And why he did the thing that he did, like that moment of weakness, I thought was really interesting for that type of character who's always like so goody-goody.
Exactly.
And I thought...
Yeah, so many people say Luke would never do that. I'm like, maybe he would. Maybe he's gotten to that point in his life where he would.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's because I'm not attached to this character as well. But I kind of imagine, like, if you're a Jedi, I'm sure you've killed before.
Exactly, and failure is kind of the Skywalker legacy.
Yeah.
Which is an awful thing to say, but
so is killing. Sorry.
They all screwed so much up, this family. And I mean, another thing is, Luke Skywalker, someone pointed this out, and I agree with it completely. He rose so fast. In the original trilogy, he goes through this arc really quickly. From nobody on a backwater planet to he redeems Darth Vader, and he's the new hope of the Jedi Order. It's too much, too fast. So, when it's his turn to lead, to teach, he doesn't have that foundation. So he's not going to be able to do it well, even though he wants to try. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's because, he was the Jesus of Star Wars. And Jesus doesn't make mistakes. So a lot of Star Wars fans look at this and they go, yeah, this is not right. And I do understand the complaint. It's just that I think that Luke Skywalker is it's a way better character in this than he was in like the films that he was in.
I agree.
Like I understand, I do understand the hero's journey, and I do understand that he has made mistakes, but not this. He didn't screw it up this badly, but he's. I like this arc that he went through as a whole in the entire series, and I think like if you look back to episode 4 or the first Star Wars, then you can appreciate what his character has gone through because of this movie, and I really like that it helped retrospectively make this character a lot cooler than he was, because let's face it, the cool character was Darth Vader, and that's because, and he wasn't even the best hero character. I thought like Leia and Han Solo were much better than him because he was such a blank slate.
Yeah, he was very tabula rasa,
Yeah, and in this, he had so many layers to him. He didn't make the right decisions. He doubted himself, and I thought like that made him feel so human, and more human than he ever had been in the 3 episodes.
It was so beautiful. So, I mean, the complaint, Luke would never do this, I think has really stopped a lot of people from seeing what this character, the potential this character had that was used, that was explored, and that was really brought out and realized in The Last Jedi. It's because you have that idea in your head and you're so fixated on it and you can't accept anything else that it stops you from appreciating what actually is really good storytelling.
Yeah, and when I did watch it for the first time and the only time, I thought like from episode 5 to 6, it was such a huge jump in his abilities. And yeah, I think this makes it a little bit better. I don't know, just my opinion.
And I mean, a lot of people hold on to the expanded universe version of Luke. But there's an article that just came out about how many of his students turned to the dark side. He really was not that great. Yeah. But I mean, like, okay, Mark Hamill, he has been involved in the fan community for a very long time. I think he loves the EU stuff. He loves the idea that Luke really became a big hero. And I think, like, he finally gets a love interest in all the EU books. You know, he's got Tenille Joe, he's got Mara Jade, he's got all these wonderful female characters whom, because Luke did not get a love interest in the original trilogy. So I think there's all this stuff which Mark Hamill would have wanted to do, which he did not get to do. And that's why he's disappointed. And I understand that. I accept it. But I don't think he's saying, oh, this is such a betrayal. I hate all of this, you know. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get paid. No, he would never do that, yeah. So at the end of the day, when people say not my Luke Skywalker and they sort of just write it off like that, like, just think about it. Pull back a little bit more and think about what the events of those 3 movies would do to you as the Chosen One. And I mean, the Chosen One sort of failing, that's an old trope as well. It's an old mythology thing. And, you know, the teacher kind of like failing the student. And he, in the end, he became Ben Kenobi. He became Yoda. He became old, hiding by himself because he made a mistake. It's sad, but yeah.
And to be fair, I'm not gonna blame the fans for being angry that this is the Luke that they decided to go with. Like, not I, because I do have a lot of, you know, favorite characters who are heroes where they have no flaws or they have very little flaws. So I can understand why people don't like this Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
I'm saying as someone who enjoys good storytelling, I think like what they did with Luke was really interesting and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and my favorite scene in the movie is Yoda. Because
I hated that scene
you
so
hated
much.
That scene. Okay, why did you hate that
It was
scene?
fan service. I'm sorry, it really was.
No,
He didn't need that, but I did like that he burned down the tree. That was quite funny to watch.
I think it's fan service that is really woven into the fabric of the plot. I think the fan service in The Force Awakens, okay, I love it, but it kind of sits on top of everything else. When Finn bumps against the Dedrick Hollow chess table and those little chess figures pop out, you don't need that in the story. Right, and when he throws the little training ball out of the Falcon's chest, you don't need that in the story. But this, I think you needed it. The lesson is, our teachers are still learning. You know, it brought me to tears. I cried when he went, we are what they grow beyond. That is the burden of every master.
Mm-hmm.
I cried. And the way Yoda was written, to me, demonstrated how deep an understanding Rian Johnson has of that character. Because Yoda, in episode 5, he's very much playing on that kind of trope you see in Kung Fu movies, where the hero comes across a crazy old man, and the crazy old man turns out to be the master, and he doesn't know that. The crazy old man is playing a trick on him. So that's who that character is, and in the prequels, in the Clone Wars, he becomes this like very militaristic sort of general character. And like, alright, it's fun to see Yoda jump around, fight with a lightsaber, and command clone troopers, but I don't think that's who he is. And this, combination of mischief and wisdom that he offers to Luke, and this parable he has, this lesson where at the end of the day he still calls Luke young Skywalker, and that in itself is so sad. It's like Luke is always that Padawan to him, and he sits down when he goes, you know, learn from all of these things, learn from failure. You know, failure is the greatest teacher of all. Then he sits down and he sighs. I was like, oh man. That is such a beautifully written moment, such a beautifully performed moment. It was a bold choice to go back to use Muppet Yoda. It worked. Like, the Yoda scene, to me, that's why The Last Jedi works. Because it's about moving on, but at the same time, you don't have to hate what happened before. You just have to recognize that the time is up. It's time to move on. And that was Yoda, the wisest character in Star Wars, giving his blessing to that new direction. And he also was very tricky with Luke because he said there's nothing in that library the girl Rey does not already possess. Rey literally absconded with the books. The books are in the Falcon. So that was a trick.
Oh,
Yoda didn't
is
actually.
it?
Yeah. At the very end, Finn opens the drawer to get the blanket for Rose. You see the books. So Yoda covered.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yoda covered for Rey.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of that was kind of funny. Yeah, so that's me and the Yoda scene, and I understand.
Yeah, I'm
know.
glad you enjoyed it. It's for you, so it's
Yeah,
good.
it's for me. It's for me, man. And yeah, I mean, I get what you mean about fan service. And there's a moment in Jurassic World where they literally walk into the first movie and they pick up things from the first movie and they play the theme on the piano. And it's like, oh, look at this, and look at that, and look at this, and look at that. And that's like, okay, it's very obvious what you're doing. But in the Yoda scene is different because it's part of the storytelling, you know. It is a moment
I do understand where you're coming from.
It's a moment of closure for Luke. Because this is really this is the last we see of Luke before he shows up at the end of the movie. So this is kind of what spurs him to do that. What spurs him to finally make that appearance in his astral form on Crate.
So let's talk about Kylo Ren and Rey.
Yeah.
Can I ask,
Reylo
is there
shippers.
so
many
is there
shippers.
supposed to be a sexual tension between them?
People want there to be a sexual tension. Yeah, okay, so
I don't like it.
My take on it.
I don't.
Sorry, this episode is gonna sound so mansplainy.
No, it's not.
All right, thanks.
It's not. No, because I mean you're a Star Wars fan and I'm not, so you're just telling me things.
This is the La La Land argument. It's like
The
Ryan
Lava
Gosling is mansplaining jazz.
Oh right, yeah. Yeah, that's stupid. But what did I say? Oh yeah, I hate like bad boys and good girls because good girls can change to bad guys. It doesn't work that way. It will only lead to an abusive relationship. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and that is another thing that I agree with that. And actually I really like what they did because you have Rey convinced that she can turn Kylo Ren to her side. You have Kylo Ren convinced that he can turn Rey to her side. You have them joining together in a moment. You know, they go back-to-back badasses, slow motion, they're swinging the lightsabers, they're fighting the Praetorian Guards as a unit. She's tossing the lightsaber to him, and you're like, okay, Kylo Ren's finally good now. It's not that simple. And I like that the movie did that. I think it was a daring thing to do. I think it was the best way to address it.
Mm-hmm.
And
also, can we quickly talk about Snoke? Right?
Snoke, yeah,
Snoke's
anti-surface, yeah.
That was really badass. I like that.
I love it so much. I know everyone was so angry, like, we didn't learn anything about Snoke, and you don't have to. Okay, so
he was just Mr. McEvil.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you can get something from the expanded universe.
Probably,
soon.
Yeah. Okay, so what I want to know about Snoke is basically like how he and Kylo Ren met, and I have my fan theory is that he was a school guidance counselor in the Jedi Temple, and Luke has very lax hiring practices.
Mm-hmm.
So as a guidance counselor, he was like talking to Ben after school and saying, maybe you should explore this, and gives him a pamphlet. And Luke totally doesn't realize this. So that's what I think is going on with Snoke, is he infiltrated the Jedi Temple as a guidance counselor.
Yeah, that sounds plausible and very Star Wars.
It does, yeah.
But sorry. I do love the way he got cut up in half.
Oh,
that was pretty badass.
It was amazing.
What a great moment.
But yeah, when they did that, I was like, okay, that's a choice. You're making a choice, movie. Nice.
and I think a lot of Star Wars fans don't like that. Understandably,
everyone's so angry. Yeah, because everyone has their own theory of who Snoke is.
Yeah, and because I'm not attached to it, I thought like that was a really funny moment because it was like, oh, okay, I guess he's gone.
Yeah,
it was anticlimactic, but it was a fun kind. Because to be honest, he's not a bad guy. To me, the real bad guy is Kylo Ren, and he is a far more interesting character because he's so conflicted.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and he's so conflicted, and I think that's what makes him so much more interesting than Snoke, because to me now Snoke is just a big baddie who loves sitting down, Yeah,
and we got Thanos for that.
Yeah, and he also felt like a very ripoff of the Emperor from the first three films.
Yeah, and
the first three films.
That's another thing, right? A lot of people are complaining that they were playing John Williams' cue for the Emperor when Snoke shows up. I think they were doing that to make you think that's the role he's playing in this arc, and he's not, because you don't need another Emperor. We expect him, he's going to be pulling the strings, he's going to be sticking around, and then finally he'll be defeated by both of them together in the third one. Nope, that's not what happens. So I like that. I hope that we get a bit of context, not necessarily specific backstory, but context to Snoke. Like, maybe a couple of lines, what he was doing, how he got there, but I don't need to know Snoke's life story, you know? And, I mean, my favorite fan theory for who Snoke was he's the little boy who said, Master Skywalker, there's too many of them, what are we going to do? That he's that boy.
Oh no, like he's dead. Just like this film.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
No, it's great. So the little boy at the end of this film, like, in 20 years, he's going to climb the mountain, and then Rey turns around, she's got a beard, and she lowers her hood, and she goes, I've seen this raw power once before. It didn't scare me then. It scares me now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, old lady Rey sounds like the queen. That's how.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so, I mean, back to Kylo Ren and Rey, I like how it was handled because it did not go the way either of them wanted.
Yeah.
And I think we are conditioned to expect she will redeem him because that's how it turned out with Luke. Because it was like Vader bringing Luke into Emperor's throne room at the end of episode 6. And you're like, okay, it's going to be this. No.
Do you think he'll be redeemed in the end, though?
Yeah, that's a tough question because I don't think it's satisfying for me if he's 100% good guy again. You know, I want him to fight until the end. I want him to be conflicted until the end and tortured until the end.
But you have seen like the good side of him when he decided not to kill his own mother.
Yeah, I think he was hesitant, and the thing is like,
but he didn't kill her.
He didn't kill her. Yeah, and that's an interesting thing because it was kind of like I think perhaps he was feeling ultimately what does it serve if I kill General Leia, what happens? And he was weighing in his mind that actually there's a tactical advantage, of course, of killing the General of the Resistance, but the good in him didn't stopped just a little bit, and all that little bit was all it needed. So yeah, I like that. There is still good in him, but there's still bad. I think there's still more bad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's why I really like him, because it's like you can tell that he's still drunk for power.
Yeah.
But that little moment there, it gave him a little bit more depth, even though it ultimately ended up, being in the end, she did get shot. But I really like that he wasn't the one that did it.
Yes, it wasn't by his hand. So, I mean, with Rey and Kylo Ren, I think I really like how Snoke called Kylo Ren out in the beginning. You're just a child playing a mask. That was great. Yeah. It was, and the idea that, they teased us by having both of them mind Skyping. And you're like, oh, they're twins. They can do this because they're twins. Nice.
I didn't even know there was a thing.
Then because Luke and Leia talk to each other as well, in that there's a little moment where he goes Leia and then she's in her stasis chamber going Luke. And then that is immediately followed by Kylo Ren talking to Rey, so the movie's kind of trolling, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. And then Snoke was like, all along it was me. Lol.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the movie did a lot of trolling, and I liked it. My brother, he summed up the movie as the scene on the beach when Finn and Rose are running towards the speeder. It gets blown up by the Canto Bight police, and Finn goes, "Oh, come on!" So my brother said that the entire movie is that. And that's kind of fun, actually, that he's having fun at the fan base's expense, and I feel like Rian Johnson really overestimated the maturity and the adaptability of Star Wars fans.
I'm sure he didn't. I think he knew what was coming. There's no way. This is this is fan base in general. I'm not blaming the Star Wars fans at all for being as angry as they are. I am.
I kind of
but
am.
I'm just saying that's how fan bases are.
Exactly. And I mean, okay, ultimately, I'm happy that you love something so much, because there are things I love very much. But at the same time, I think that you really need to pull back and look at things in perspective.
All right, this is my time to shine, because this is when I'm actually going to purposely mention Zelda.
Okay,
so,
mention Zelda, please.
In Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah.
This is an entirely new phase for for the entire franchise, because the franchise has always stayed sort of samey in the past few 30 years, and this time they changed everything. They made it open world, they made it you can do any dungeon in any order you want, the story is all over the place, and it's literally all over the place, by the way. I'm not saying this as an insult. And I think a lot of fans were really unhappy with that, but it gained a lot of new fans in that process. And I think it is good that Star Wars is doing this. They're trying to be different from what they were. Well, that's not true. I think Star Wars is a lot of what it was. But at the same time, they are doing things that are a lot more mature in their decisions. And I really appreciate it for the kind of changes that they made, just like they did with Zelda. Because if everything stays the same, if everything is the Force Awakens, and if the Last Jedi was Emperor's, I'm gonna say Emperor's New Groove.
Okay, I would pay so much money to watch that.
But if it was the Empire Strike. Empire Strikes Back, then I think you have your fans, but I think you will lose the potential of something new for this franchise. And I really appreciate that. I didn't like anything that's not the Rey and Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker, but what the Rey, Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker did, I really appreciated, because that felt like the most step up from what Star Wars was.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. And I understand why fans feel so upset.
Played
because,
out, yeah. Cheated,
yeah, because
kinda.
Like you said, it really did feel like a troll on expectations. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, you wanna know who Snoke is? Killed him off.
Yeah.
Luke was this, now he's not. He's not your knight in shining armor.
You wanna know who Rey's parents are?
Yeah. They're just poppers. Maybe they're not. We don't know.
I love the Mirror of Erised thing. Like, the troll Mirror of Erised. That was great.
So yeah, this is where I think a lot of the hate of the film is coming from.
Yes.
Which is this entire this plot.
This
and
arc,
this is the plot I love. Yeah, this is the plot I love the most, because it is the most un-Star Wars as a non-Star Wars fan, because it is the one that honestly makes the most story sense on where the characters go. Not everyone is going to be the chosen one. Not everyone is good or bad and can turn good. And not every evil bad guy, not every evil bad guy needs to be. I mean, even the Empire, the Emperor wasn't that fleshed out,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't understand. That's my rant.
So this is why I really liked hearing your issues with the movie, because there are still things you like. Because the people who hate this movie, they hate it and they hate all of it. And they're not able to identify some things I liked, some things I didn't, So I like hearing what you said earlier when you had your disagreements about Finn and Rose, and you had the issues with like the structure of the thing and Canto Bight and all of that. Because here you are saying that you appreciate the direction in which a story goes with Luke, Rey, and Kylo Ren. So I appreciate that, and I give you the credit, you deserve for that. Because this movie, it's so hard for people to think straight talking about this movie. And I think maybe sometimes I'm not thinking straight either. But I do agree with what you said about taking the franchise in a new direction, because at the time The Force Awakens came out, I said it needs to be this. It needs to be beat for beat New Hope. But the follow-up cannot be beat for beat Empire. And that's exactly what I got. Mm-hmm. So I did not hope for specifics, and I think that's key. I did not pray for specific things. Every night before I went to bed, I did not close my eyes and go, please let Rey's parents be X and Y. Because if you do that, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yes, you are.
And I feel like so many people fell into that trap, and it's not their fault, because it is a tantalizing promise. And you do want to believe that everyone is a chosen one, and you do want to follow the structure of the prequels and the original trilogy, but maybe that's not how it's going to go.
Yeah, and I really, really hope that, Rey is just this random person who's in tune with the Force. So, and I like that they got rid of the midichlorian thing. Yeah, which was kind of odd.
I really like how they explained the Force in this one, and I like Luke trolling her by tickling her finger. It was so mean.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you must be so strong with it. It was so mean. It was so mean. Such an asshole.
It felt very un-Star Wars. So,
yeah,
but I really liked that.
It felt like
it was
Kung
really
Fu Panda.
Yeah, it really did. That's why I love it.
Yeah, me too. there were a couple of style things that felt un-Star Wars. This is the first time-lapse sequence you've seen in Star Wars. When she's talking about
Can I just say,
death and life.
every single time there's a star wipe in a Star Wars film, I die a little on the inside.
Oh no,
there was so many of
it's
that.
a legacy
it was
thing.
So bad.
It's a legacy thing.
It's not. It's a distraction. I'm sorry, but it is.
I mean, yeah, that's another thing that it's because we grew up with it. We're okay with it. I think that's another one of those. So I don't begrudge you that. I get it. Like as since you're speaking as someone who like does editing and like watches movies for the editing, yeah, it will pull you out of it as an obvious transition. But I think it was okay. I think there were fewer in The Force Awakens though.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my god, especially when they cut back to something dramatic. They have the swipe.
The star wipe in.
Oh my god. Okay, I wish I wish they went on more where they had like a cutout of like the Millennium Falcon or something.
Just
like the old
like
Batman.
a pork shape.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if you're gonna distract us that much, just go all the way. Like then you can be in on the joke as well.
And then there's a voice going, "Meanwhile, in Snoke's Mega Class Star Destroyer."
Yes, please let that happen. I know what? No, I think did they have that in Spaceballs? I forgot where they had a weird cutout. They didn't. They should have.
I don't think they did it in Spaceballs. And anyway, yeah, okay. I want to talk about porgs now. Can we talk about porgs?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, we didn't talk about Rey. Rey's great. I like Rey. She's awesome. She's a great main character. I don't care what people say about her being a Mary Sue. She has a very interesting backstory.
Yeah.
She's not.
She's looking for her place in all this, and then Kylo Ren straight up tells her, "You are nobody. You are nothing." And that hurt.
And also the reason
that hurt.
And the only reason why she could beat Kylo Ren in the first film was because he was hurt.
Yes, and
she had the advantage.
That's what Snoke pointed out. Because everyone kept on saying, "Oh, she's such a Mary Sue. She's never held lightsaber before." Snoke addresses that directly. Snoke says she has never held lightsaber. Snoke uses that line that the fans were using, and I think that was such a deliberate, really cool thing to put in Snoke's mouth. That sounded weird.
I'm sure she's fought. I'm sure she's fought before because she's all alone. And
yeah,
she's
a stick fighter, So I hope her lightsaber is double-sided and she gets to do stuff kind of things.
Yeah.
Because a friend told me I need her lightsaber to be made from a staff because I spent too much money on her staff for my cosplay. I was like, okay, I agree.
All right, porgs.
Porgs, yes. So going into this movie, did you love porgs or hate porgs before you watched the show?
You hated porgs?
No, you.
I said you loved them.
I love porgs. You yourself. Did you love or hate them before going in?
I was indifferent.
Okay.
I didn't mind that they existed. As long as they didn't become the new minions, and they didn't.
Yes.
So I was indifferent towards them.
Okay. And do you hang on to that theory? That feeling after the movie?
Yes, I'm still indifferent towards them.
Cool. That's good. I like that. Okay, so the porgs are awesome. I think that they feel like a believable part of the ecosystem of Acto. I love all the creatures in Acto. I love the judgmental fish, some sweet women nuns. I love the plesiosaurus walruses who gave the green milk to Luke. I love all of it. It's so cool. It's like, yeah, that feels like Star Wars, man. And the porgs were great because there are puffins, there are Atlantic puffins on Skellig Michael. So you might as well take that and turn that into something you can sell stuffed toys with. And they were not Ewoks. I don't mind Ewoks, but Ewoks controlled the second act of Return of the Jedi. Porgs do not control the second act of anything.
Speaking of which, I think BB-8 was in it a little bit too little. I loved him.
Oh, I thought he was
Force
great.
Awakens.
I think they let him kill people in this movie, which I admire.
Mm-hmm.
Even R2 didn't kill people, he just killed battle droids. Like when he was piloting the ATST and the panels fell off and revealed that it was him, and then Finn and Rose do a double take to each other and you're like, alright. I like that. That was funny. Yeah, the little moments like that, that felt Star Warsy in terms of the humor. And also for porgs, everyone is saying, oh, it's just merchandising. Yeah, the whole thing is, everything is. All of Star Wars is just merchandising. I'm sorry. Deal with it.
Yeah, and to be fair, Star Wars was created to be, to sell toys.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, Star Wars, no one thought the toys would sell. So that's why George Lucas got to retain the rights to the toys, which is now a thing that no studio would ever give to any filmmaker because of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what? So what if Pogs are there to sell stuffed toys? Get over yourself. That's another thing, because it's like this Disney being an easy target thing. You see that a lot in discussion with the Pogs. But people have such a selective memory about the other things in the other movies that were obviously toyetic or obviously geared towards kids.
Pod racing?
Yeah, I mean, Jar Jar Binks was there to appeal to kids, you know?
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That backfired.
It did, yeah. He was created as like an obvious clown comedic character. Unless you believe Reddit and their Darth Jar Jar theory.
Oh yeah, what was it? Jar Jar was Snoke or something?
Yeah. Because they turned the poster upside down and it kind of looked like Jar Jar.
If people really hated Jar Jar Binks, then they should be happy that Snoke is dead, because that's part of the theory, right? So, there you go, Star Wars fans. Don't need to be so mad.
Exactly. I'm sorry, because I sound very worked up, and I'm trying not to get worked up. But I've got to tell you honestly, it threw me for a loop. I did not expect people to defend slavery in the comment section for anything I've ever written. But I guess that is where we are now in the world, and that's where we are now in the United States.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that did a number on me, man. I mean, I get negative comments on my things a lot, and I get positive comments a lot. But I've never gotten people defend slavery.
I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, thanks for understanding, Gerry. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, this is catharsis for me right now. I'm glad we get to talk about this. And even though you did not like the movie as much as I did, and even though you didn't like the movie much at all, I really appreciate hearing what you had to say about it, because I think your criticisms are very different from what I wanted in my head. Therefore, it sucks, which is most of the criticism for this film.
I didn't even know what I wanted from this film, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just wanted it to be good.
And that's an interesting...
Sorry.
Oh, it's alright. I mean, that's an interesting place to come from, because this is geared towards fans, and yet fans are mad. And that's an interesting case study. It's like, you kind of look at it, and you turn it around and go, why? What went, quote-unquote, wrong? What went, quote-unquote, right? You know? And I kind of like looking at that, because I think going forward from The Force Awakens... What did I want? I wanted something surprising. This was surprising. And it's so hard to pull a surprise in a franchise 40 years old with rules that are more or less set in stone.
Mm-hmm.
Or in carbonite, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Maybe they'll come back in the sequel, maybe they won't. But yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, now they're gonna hand 9 back to J.J. Abrams, and that's where it becomes interesting, because what does J.J. Abrams do? Does he go back and just continue a pace with The Force Awakens and ignore The Last Jedi, or does he reevaluate his own ideas? Because people always forget that The Last Jedi was built on a pitch by J.J. Abrams. He laid the groundwork first before Rian Johnson came in. I mean, he already came up with Luke on the island, so he already came up with Luke having failed and Kylo Ren having burned down the temple. So that's J.J. Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's talk about General Leia and whatever was going on with her crew.
Yeah.
The best part about the movie, the part where I don't know what the right term is, when Laura Dern's character goes into hyperspace thing?
Yeah,
and
when
then
she does a light speed
ship.
drum and they drop all the
So
sound
good.
out and the whole theater goes, whoa! Yeah,
That sounds annoying.
Yeah. that it was like that for every time I watched it. It was actually kind of funny. Because I knew it was coming the second, third, fourth time I watched it. So I was just looking around waiting to see everyone go, whoa. Yeah, alright, so why I love that sacrifice moment is because it is a moment of symmetry to Rogue One. At the end of Rogue One, Admiral Raddus? Yeah, Admiral Raddus, he has 3 seconds to relish his victory at Scarif when the Devastator jumps out of hyperspace, smashes into his ship, and kills him. So in this movie, Holdo jumps the Resistance flagship into the Star Destroyer. The name of the Resistance flagship is the Raddus.
Mm-hmm.
So it's named after that character from Rogue One. So he got his revenge posthumously 40 years later. And
Yeah,
I thought that was
cool.
super sweet. Because that is a little like a little story group thing
Not.
that and in Rogue One there was even a little bit where when Jyn Erso is going through the Imperial data files, she pulls out one and she goes, "This is hyperspace tracking." So they had already planted that in Rogue One. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, that. I didn't know that. That was really cool.
Yeah, neither did I. Saw
That's
it
a
on
really
Twitter.
cool take.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great moment. Hated everything else about that plot, but yeah, that was a really cool moment. This is my biggest problem with the film.
Okay, let's hear
which
it.
was no one communicated, and it was
Yeah.
kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh, this film, the theme is failure." You know, Luke failed as a teacher, Rey and Kylo failed to bring each other to whatever side they're on, and Finn and Poe, sorry, Finn Finn and Rose, sorry. Finn and Rose, you know, they failed the mission and almost got everyone killed. And Oscar Isaac's character Poe, he failed because he's a hothead and whatever, and generally escape plan failed because fail. And the whole theme is about failure, and
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a bullshit excuse for not communicating.
So
And I think people are like, "Oh, this because he's hot-headed and she's just punishing him."
yeah.
Well, if they knew him, they would know that he wouldn't listen to instructions and he would do something stupid and rash. And I think, maybe tell him next time what your plan is.
Yeah, so this is something I agree with. I think Holdo should have told everyone what her plan was, but a part of me thinks that Holdo really wanted to spare everybody the anguish of knowing that what she was going to do until the very last moment. So she didn't want anyone to know that her plan all along was to sacrifice herself.
But they knew what she was doing, though. Like, if she didn't tell them her plan, then, they would think that they were all gonna die.
No, I think she put everyone on the ship and they thought that she was going to join them. So her plan was to run away. That's what Poe didn't like. But her plan was for everyone else to run away and for her to stay behind. So that's what she didn't tell.
But the thing is, she... Okay, hang on. I'm trying to remember what the plan is.
It's okay. I get it. Yeah, I mean, on the whole, the military strategy in these movies is not super airtight.
Yeah, and I don't like it when fans defend what her plan was. I mean, not her plan, but her plan of not telling Poe what it was.
Right, yeah.
And then we have like half an hour of Poe and Rose doing something that could have easily been prevented, and no one else on the ship could have died besides her, maybe. And it's so annoying.
Yeah.
I hate this plot so much. It's it's like defending why that guy from what's that alien movie called?
That's not very specific, Gerry.
The one where the scientist was like, "Ooh, what's that thing?" Even though it looked dangerous and he did some. Yeah, Prometheus. Oh my god, it's like that to me.
Okay, I understand. Yeah. So I'll be honest, I don't have a very good answer for that. I just have to say that it didn't bother me, but I understand why it bothers you, and it bothers a lot of people. And yeah, a lot of problems would have been avoided if Laura Dern straight up went and told Oscar Isaac, "Hey, this is what I'm gonna do." Oscar Isaac was like, "Okay, fine."
You know what I hate? What I hate the most is that they make her look like a hero. They made her look like a hero like, "Oh, she's not actually bad." It's like, no, she's just stupid. That's all she is.
She was a red herring. I think, like, you're supposed to, in these movies, I think you're supposed to suspect authority and side with the hothead ace pilot. So in a narrative function, that's what was going on. But her strategy, not the best idea. So I do agree with that. It didn't affect my enjoyment of the movie that much, but I can see why it would for you and for others. So yeah, that's fine.
Anything else you want to say about this plot before we go to the final battle?
About the Resistance versus the First Order thing. Yeah, I mean, we always have the Resistance running away from the First Order, and I think like it does highlight the sort of underdogness of things, but it also feels a little bit sad that it's like after all this time and all this work that Leia put into building the New Republic, it is defeated so easily. So I can see that point of view as well. At the same time, it doesn't really bother me, but I understand why people are sad. And people were like, oh, they built Leia up to be so awesome, but in the end, all that she achieved, it really wasn't very much.
Yeah, but I mean that part didn't bother me. It was just me not caring about anyone on that ship.
and I mean,
Sorry.
it's fine. There probably are franchises where I'm gonna watch the 8th movie, having seen the other 7 like a couple of years back and not really care. So, yeah, the Fast and Furious movies are kind of like that. No, not really. I mean, I care about people in the Fast and Furious. I'm so sorry, I care about one. Actually, I don't, but I like the Fast and Furious movies. Anyway. Yeah, with that plot, I think that the military strategy in this movie is not great, and I see the point people make when they say, I wish we had a badass kind of Grand Admiral Thrawn character in control of the First Order. Because the First Order, as it stands, is under the control of Hux. Who is a joke character. Which I kind of like. I mean, he's...
me too, I love it. He's really funny.
He's a Nazi from the Indiana Jones movies. Whacking him around like they whack the Nazis around. And good, Nazis should be whacked around like that. And I mean, I've got people... There is someone who commented on a thing after watching this thing, Domhnall Gleeson is such a horrible actor. No, he's not. He's a good actor. He's doing this because that's what is asked of him in the script. So that to me is very, very confusing. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the final battle.
Okay, the Battle of Crate.
Not on Hoth.
No, on Crate. Sorry. It's salt. It's salt, not snow.
It's salt. Do you know that he's called Sergeant Salt or something in the credits?
Salty. Matthew Sharp.
Salty?
He's the first assistant director.
I saw that on Reddit.
Yeah, Salty is the first assistant director, yeah. And next to him in the trenches is Gareth Edwards, who directed Rogue One.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's interesting.
That's the guy next to Salty. I shamelessly made a meme of Salt Bay on Crate. I'm very proud of myself for that.
That's his.
Sorry?
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at who apparently what's his name? Donald Gleeson.
Donald Gleeson.
He's the son of Brendan Gleeson.
He is.
So that's interesting.
He is, yeah.
I didn't know that.
And in fact, there's a novel called Phasma, and one of the supporting characters in that novel is Hux's dad, Brandol Hux. So I don't think that's a coincidence.
Nope.
Yeah. And he's described as being kind of like a heavy-set big guy, like Brendan Gleeson is. So, the Battle of Crate.
Yeah. Okay, it's a battle.
No, I loved it.
Hated the scene. I hated the scene where Rose saved Finn.
That
was really dumb.
It feels like a thing you would not like. I think I know your tastes enough after having done this show with you for a little bit, and I have a feeling you wouldn't like that. And that's okay. I love the visual of the ski speeder scratching at the surface of the planet.
And the red salt. So good.
The white salt over the red clay. So it looks like blood.
So good.
And it's a metaphor. It's
salt. It's salt.
No, it's white salt over red clay.
It's clay.
The top layer is
Salt.
The top layer is salt.
Tea.
Right? The top layer is salt. The white bit is salt, and the red bit is kind of like clay or mud. Yeah, so I mean it's a little bit like how they use the clay in Crimson Peak, where the mountain looks like it's bleeding because the red clay seeps up through the snow.
Oh, that's great. I love this planet, by the way. It's so beautiful.
I love the crystal foxes, the little Vulpixes.
Yeah.
They have this little...
They remind me of Pokemon.
They do.
So I like
them. The Vulpix. They have this little concerned face. And it's very cute. The Porks also have a concerned face. All the animals have concerned faces. Yeah, so the foxes, the cave. The Millennium Falcon going into that giant crystal cave. Oh, so good.
See, people keep talking about that scene. I don't remember that scene happening at all.
This is weird. Okay.
No.
Do you remember?
Okay, sorry.
Do you remember the pork being slapped off the console of the Millennium Falcon? Chewie slaps the pork off.
No, but I do remember the pork doing the thing. But that wasn't the trailers.
Yes, that was in that scene in the movie where the Falcon is being pursued by several TIE fighters and Chewie flies it into a cave. And then he flips the Falcon so that it's on its side vertical, and then you hear the trench run theme from episode 4. Dun, 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 dun. So that John Williams reprises that, and that's really, really cool. So yeah,
I like that Rey was having a lot of fun in that scene. After
I like this.
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
so
it's
cute.
so great.
Oh, she's so cute.
Yeah, she is cute.
She's cute, and Rose is cute. Everyone's cute. It's great. Fit is cute.
Oh, Rose is okay.
Oh, love Rose. No,
I'm glad you like her. I'm very indifferent towards the character because she did a lot of she's a good person, but in terms of plot, I thought she was given the short end of the stick.
This is your report card. This is like, you are a good person, but in terms of plot, you don't.
Good job.
Yeah. And then this is a report card that she gets of you. Yeah. So yeah, Battle of Crate.
Yeah.
Why do we keep getting
I like
sidetracked?
Rey in that scene a lot.
Okay.
I like Rey in that scene a lot. Yeah, I'm glad she's having fun. What else? I like the whole everything is broken down, and
yeah.
he tried to. I forgot what was the thing that he tried to do, and it broke apart.
Yeah.
Where he used his feet.
He was in a ski speeder, and he put his foot through the floor of the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
It was funny.
And I genuinely thought that Poe was gonna die because not Poe, Finn was gonna die.
Yeah, they sold it. They sold it, man. It looked like it was gonna. Yeah, I mean, I think that they were kind of playing on us having just seen Laura Dern sacrifice herself. So we were like, okay, fine, this is what's gonna happen. But I'm glad.
And also, there was like no way out of it in a way because everyone left.
Yep, and it was just this big,
kind of cool.
big ass gun. That's literally what Poe said. Poe said, "Big ass gun," and I love it. I love it that someone said "big ass" something in Star Wars.
What else is there? Good. The fight between I love how they hinted that Luke wasn't really there.
Yes.
Like his hair.
And he had the lightsaber.
Yeah.
He had the old lightsaber I like that was broken. Yeah.
And he winked at C-3PO, which was really cute.
Oh yes, that's right. I like that. Yeah. And
like that was, I think, because C-3PO knew, right, that he wasn't really there. And
that would be so
I
awesome
really enjoyed
if C-3PO knew. I hope he knew, man.
I think he did. That's why he winked at C-3PO.
He went, Master Duke.
Don't tell them. And I also like the reunion between Leia and Luke.
Yes, that
was very sweet.
That reminded me a lot of Charles and Charles in X-Men: Days of Future Past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the way it was lit and everything.
And I think that can I ask, that dice that he had?
Yes.
It was never that significant, right? Because I checked online and people seem to agree that it wasn't significant, but it's probably going to be in the new Han Solo.
It's a thing that we'll see in Han Solo, yeah.
Okay. So
I
was very confused by that.
I don't super like that. I don't super like using that to plant for an upcoming movie. Because that seems like a very MCU kind of thing to do. Where it is like, this has an emotional significance that you won't get now. And like, okay. So, yeah, I don't super love that.
Although, to be fair, Logan did it really well when in the Tokyo one, it's like, oh, you're dying and you're holding your heart.
Yes.
Oh, that was
yes,
sweet.
yeah. That was
what else is...
okay.
Do you have anything to complain about the climax?
Luke versus Kylo Ren?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I think the astral projection thing, it's interesting because a friend of mine who's actually a bigger Star Wars fan than I am, he told me that astral projection and Force Ghost, those are both Sith techniques. So that's actually kind of like touching the dark side. And Force Ghost is something that Qui-Gon taught everyone. So even Yoda didn't know how to do that until Qui-Gon taught him. So that is something which is like, apparently the Jedi are not supposed to do anything that doesn't... I mean, they're not supposed to use their powers in a way that cannot immediately affect their surroundings. So that's kind of like touching the dark side if you stretch beyond those bounds, if you break those barriers. So I thought that was interesting to see that power being used. And that his journey ends with him looking at the twin suns, and his journey began with him looking at the twin suns. Yes, I love that. It's so sad. It's very beautiful bookends. I wish that we had a little bit longer for his death. I think I wanted to see... I wanted that to be a tiny bit slower. And I know people are angry that that's how he died. But I really like what Rey said when she said that he's gone, but it's peace and purpose, and that was really sweet. Yeah. And
I like his death too.
It's good. It's time. I mean, would I have loved for Luke to stuck around for 9? Sure. Does he need to? No, not really. the problem now is...
Jedd,
Yes.
talking about this film to you has made me kind of like the film a little bit more, because I think I was too like negative on it, because I really hated the whole Poe and Rose subplot. I hated the whole General Leia and Poe. Finn and Rose subplot, and I hated the whole Poe and Leia subplot. But talking about Luke, talking about Rey, talking about Kylo Ren's plot, I think like those are the highlights of the film, and I think they did that so well. Especially with the imagery of Luke's death. And I thought like the twin son thing was so beautiful, because he looked at that and he wanted an adventure, and at the end of it he got that adventure. And I think that was such a great way to see that character off in that universe.
Yeah, it is. I'm so glad you told me that. I appreciate that you did. And I think the problems you have with the film are very legitimate complaints. Because again, you're not treating Disney as his boogeyman, and neither are you saying I was very, very fixed on Rey's dad being Watto, and that is not what happened. Rey's dad is not Watto, so I'm very angry. So yeah,
who's Watto?
Watto is he's the flying guy who owns Anakin, the slave owner.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's a joke. Nobody thought Rey's dad was Watto, but maybe someone did. And some of the fan theories, in fact, are about as ridiculous as what I just said. So yeah, I think that this movie, it is really, really ambitious. It's trying to get a lot done, and it's trying to move a lot forward at once. And in doing so, it does hit a few snags. But for me, it worked a lot more than it didn't. Okay, I haven't really complained a big deal about the movie yet, but this is a big thing that I like. Probably my biggest issue with the movie is we did not get to see Luke process Han's death. And we did not get to see Luke process that he indirectly led to Han's death, because Han would not have died if he had not gone in and thought about killing Ben.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have wanted that to weigh on him a bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That didn't really bother me, because like I said, I'm not that attached to the characters.
That's fine.
But yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
For the fans, I guess.
And I mean, it's another thing for him to feel sorry about. It's another way in which he has failed. So, yeah.
All right. So, I think that's our Star Wars discussion. Do you have anything else to say? I would like to say Finn and Rey are a much better couple, and I felt like when they had their reunion, more chemistry than Rose and Finn had in the entire series.
That's okay.
Oh, sorry, in the entire movie.
No, but
Kelly Marie, what's your shit with Finn?
Kelly Marie Tran is a sweetheart. I really love
she
her
is.
story.
I love that she's a fan.
Yeah. No, I mean, she's not a fan of Star Wars. Like,
she's not?
She's not. She had not seen a single Star Wars film before getting the role.
Oh, wait, I thought she was... Well, okay, I've been reading the wrong article.
So it's quite interesting, because she said that after she got the role, then she studied everything. And she said that 3 years ago, she wanted to quit acting because she was working a job where she had to wake up at 5 a.m. and get home at 11 p.m. to kind of like pay the bills while she was trying to pursue an acting and comedy career. And she was thinking to herself how, this is not worth it. And then she got Star Wars. And now, 2-3 years later, she has action figures and her own John Williams theme. So that's really, really awesome, really encouraging. It's a 1 in a million kind of thing. And for sure, for every success story like this, there's so many stories of people who have not made it. But I think it's encouraging that she has this success. And I really like her story of how whenever she's free, she will wander from department to department asking them how they do things. So she will ask the creature department to teach her.
She's a nerd.
Yeah, it's cute. To teach her how to make stuff, and the costume department teach her how to make costumes, and she will try and figure it out, and they'll patiently accommodate her. And that's so cute. So I want that to be a special feature on the Blu-ray. I want the Kelly Marie Tran set diaries. Please give him to me. Yeah.
I just hope I just hope she does something that benefits the Resistance next time.
Okay.
Especially since she's a new character.
She let all those horses go, Gerry.
Okay, fine. And she did encourage that one kid that did the Force thing with the broom.
Yes, his name is Blag, Blagg, and I kind of love that that's his name, because if you have a name like that, you're not going to be a main character. So I'm sorry, Blag.
Yeah.
So someone jokingly said Star Wars Episode 10, The Rise of Blag. Yes, but I do want him to go find Rey, The old lady Ray is hiding. Not like.
Well, what else is there to say about this film?
Yeah, okay,
think...
did you spot Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
No.
Yeah. He was parking violation guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought that was cute.
What?
Cute. Yeah.
Wait, was he like a motion capture guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
no, I didn't see.
Because he is a oft collaborator of Rian Johnson, and he's been in Rian Johnson's previous films.
Yeah, that's true. Looper and all that.
And Brick, yeah.
And Brick, yeah.
Which was Rian Johnson's first film. So yeah, there's Justin Theroux cameo was funny.
What's that?
Justin Theroux, he played the Master Code Breaker, the one with the red blonde bloom. So he was the guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was the guy with the mustache who was being like very snotty. Yeah. Not now, love. Not now, darling. I'm on a roll. And that was Justin Theroux. And then Maz Kanata, she took a dig at the prequels. I thought that was fun. Because when she's doing her Skype thing, she says, "Union dispute, nothing you want to hear about."
I didn't get that joke.
Because the entirety of like episode 1 and the rest of the prequels is all
just
about
them talking in circles.
Trade Federation, this bureaucratic stuff. So the joke was that Maz Kanata was in the middle of one of those things. But it was kind of interesting looking because she was shooting guns. But yet she said it's not something you'd be interested in. So she was kind of taking a swipe at the prequels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Okay,
At the same time, I think that Maz Kanata is a giant waste of Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah, it is.
Don't do that to her. Lupita Nyong'o is a brilliant and radiant and awesome and just like...
she's going to be the new Black Panther, right?
I never freeze. I love that bit in the trailer. It says, "Don't freeze." He goes, "I never freeze." And Infinity War, somebody give this man a shield. Someone hands Captain America Coulson. Not that kind of shield.
I haven't seen the Black Panther trailer yet because I don't want to know anything about it.
Which one? The Infinity War trailer or the Black Panther trailer?
Black Panther.
Oh, okay. Alright. So yeah, that won't make any sense, the jokes that I just made.
I'm really glad she's getting woke, by the way, because it always scares me when someone like her gets an Oscar for
on the first role.
Try.
Yeah. Totally.
And then she just disappears. Like the guy from the Tom Hanks movie. He's gone.
What? Bakat Abdi. Yeah, that's right. Bakat Abdi. He's having trouble, but he was in Blade Runner, so I was kind of happy to see him pop up there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in that.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for Star Wars episode. I don't think we need to do movie news because I think there's too many sad things to talk about.
Yeah, boy. These past few months have been rough. We've also gotten a couple of trailers. I mean, Jurassic World, Ocean's 8.
Terrible.
Oh, it looks fine.
It looks fun.
Yeah, Ocean's 8, and then what other trailers came out? Soldados, Sicario 2.
Infinity War looks cool.
Yes, Infinity War. I don't know how they're gonna juggle all those characters, but I'm curious and I'm excited.
They won't.
Yeah, they won't. So next year will be...
Ready Player One looks kind of terrible, to be honest.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna reserve judgment.
Service.
Yeah, it is fan service.
I read the books.
I know. Yeah, sorry, you told me that you really hated the book.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who says that the book sounds like it was read by someone who's not a nerd and who read a Wikipedia page of nerd things.
Mm-hmm. It's like what's
popular?
I mean, the thing is, he is obviously a nerd.
Yeah,
but
he is. But
what's popular now? Nerds.
But maybe it's like the way he wrote it was just like lists of things.
Yeah, it was.
And we've got a bunch of Oscar-y things coming up soon, so I'm really, really excited for The Shape of Water.
What am I excited for?
The new Guillermo del Toro movie.
I'm not really looking forward to Shape of Water. That's one. Oh man, it's by a female director. I forgot the name. It got like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is that
and it
Lady
Toy
Bird?
Story.
Lady Bird?
Lady
Bird by Greta Gerwig starring Saoirse Ronan. Saoirse Ronan is badass. Saoirse Ronan is so awesome.
Call Me by Your Name. I'm really looking forward to that.
Armie Hammer. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Armie Hammer do good acting.
I like him, by the way.
I don't. I think he's so boring. He almost became Batman.
I really loved him in that Guy Ritchie film. Is it Guy Ritchie, the one about spies?
Man from U.N.C.L.E. Yeah, it was
Yes,
him
I
and
love
Henry
Danny Depp.
Cavill,
Yeah.
like having sexual tension with each other. Yeah, that's great.
That was really fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward
Um.
to Tomb Raider. That's coming soon.
Oh yeah.
I went back and I tried to find the Norwegian movie that guy did called The Wave, and it's actually really good. It's a very low key kind of disaster movie where it uses a lot of disaster movie tropes, but it does it in a completely different style from Hollywood. Very character driven, very quiet, and very bleak. But the visual effects are breathtaking.
Sounds like something I would try to avoid because I hate sad movies.
So that's what got him the job for Tomb Raider. So Warner's probably hired him on the basis of that
Which is odd.
Norwegian film. Yeah, I know. It's interesting. So I was very curious about that movie, so I went to find it and watch it in Norwegian.
There was a film. Well, I wanted to watch Paddington too.
It's so good. Paddington 2
but
is so
I can't find
good.
the right time.
Oh, Hugh Grant is hilarious
I
in it.
love the first one.
Yeah, he's like sending himself up in it so much.
What else? What else is there? Well, a Mario movie may be coming, and that kind of scares me.
And okay, Ryan Reynolds is Detective Pikachu. Let's talk about that before we sign off. Yeah. You have complicated feelings.
Yeah, because he's funny, and I think it's a funny choice, but his voice is too Ryan Reynolds. But then again, I agreed with the internet. I wanted Danny DeVito to be in it.
I think it was kind of obvious. We all thought that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, because Detective Pikachu in the Japanese version has this low voice. He's voiced by Roy Mustang, I think, from Fullmetal Alchemist, and I really like that film. I mean, I really like that series. And it's voiced by Ryan Reynolds, who has a high voice.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds does have a high voice.
Doesn't match. Yeah.
Maybe the Dan Stevens him.
But does he do a good Danny DeVito impression?
Ryan Reynolds?
You think?
I don't know, man, but we'll have to see. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm looking forward to the film because it's written by the guy who did Gravity Falls,
Hirsch, yeah.
and that's one of
one
of my favorite animated films. Sorry, favorite animated series this century.
Oh, Disney also found their Mulan. So I wanted to ask you about that.
She's too pretty, but okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she's called the fairy princess in China because she's like very elegant and innocent and fragile looking.
But I think she's pretty. I'll give her that. And she apparently has done martial arts.
And she can speak English.
Before.
So yeah, she grew
English.
up in the US for a little bit. So I think she ticked all the boxes that Disney wanted. So cool.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, please impress me with your Li Shang.
I just really wish that they cast more unknown because she is popular in China, and I feel like, and the reason why why I'm quite excited for Disney being more PC, like people of color friendly.
Yeah,
it's
POC
because
friendly.
I think that will help a lot of American Asians get jobs, and that will help bring someone who's been struggling, I'm sure, as an actor, because it's America. And they brought in someone from China who was already famous in China, and that kind of disappointed me.
I think that argument does make sense, yeah, and I think that it is very clearly geared towards the China market now, and this is like pointed straight at that. But that's why I like Halle Marie Tran's casting so much, because this is a person of color who is struggling in the industry, and she's given such a big platform, and she proved herself. She did a good job. So yeah, I mean, even
I like her voice. The way she talks.
Yeah, and
it's very fast and it's very clear.
And even if you dislike the writing of the character, I think it's safe to say that she performed well. It's not a fault of her.
Yeah.
So I hope we see.
It's not her fault that her character is kind of okay.
Gerry's angry. No, I get it, and yeah. So I hope we see more of that. And also, Coco was so good. So I hope we get more.
Coco is so good.
Coco was so good. I was like sobbing in the theater.
Remember me. Sorry.
Each time
I love Coco. It's probably my favorite film of the year.
Remember me. Each time you hear a sad guitar.
To be honest, Coco, I saw the plot twist coming a mile away.
You knew that? Okay, well done. Better than me. I did not.
and I knew where the emotional part was coming from.
Yeah, where the
And it
screw they
still
were gonna
got me.
turn it. Yeah, it got me bad, man. And oh, it's so good. The songs are so good. All of it is so good. And the 22-minute
Honestly,
Frozen shot is so good. No, I'm kidding. It's just alright.
it's awful. And I didn't know there was a thing. By the way, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, I heard Evermore from Beauty and the Beast, and I thought, okay, that's a surefire Oscar winner.
Best picture,
Nope.
yeah.
Remember
Best
Me.
special original song, yeah. Now, yeah, Remember
Remember
Me
Me,
is the one to beat.
It better win.
Yes.
It has to win.
Recuerda,
Because
ma.
that song has so much meaning to it.
Yes.
And it helps. It's a good song in general, but it really helps with the film.
It
like
serves
the context
plot,
of the film.
yeah. The mini
Yeah.
mythology of all of Ernesto de la Cruz's songs and movies was so well designed. It felt like, yeah, there's a thing that exists. This is
It's a
guy
little bit
that exists.
contrived. I wouldn't say well designed.
No, I liked it. I thought that they put a lot of thought
Okay.
into, like, because the style of it, it felt like, yeah, in that time, people would look up to an idol like that. He would.
Oh
he-
no, sorry. I thought you meant like the plot
No,
the plot things that they put inside.
as in, I meant like
his movies.
his existing like body of work.
yeah,
His existing songs, his existing movies, and how they exist in that world. yeah, that's
no,
what I
I
meant,
agree with
yeah.
you on that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you meant like how they weave.
Oh,
in
they
some plot
foreshadowed
points
things
inside
in his
film.
movies. Yeah. That's a little bit
Which is
silly.
kind of
Yeah,
dumb.
yeah. Wow. Okay,
Great film,
we've
though.
gone way over, but I just wanted to say thanks so much, Gerry, for a wonderful second year on the snack bar. I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and hopefully next year I'll be more consistent with my stuff.
Yeah,
Hopefully
I
I
mean,
can pass my school.
I totally acknowledge that you're busy, and I don't begrudge you that at all, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. So, whenever you're free and I'm free, that's okay. If you're not free and I'm not free, that's also okay. Because I think the only
But
person listening to this is me on the bus.
Yeah, and to be honest, right, like I think this is a really good platform for me to just understand films more, because there's no one, honestly, I don't have a lot of friends who like films, so you are like my only person.
Oh, thanks.
You're the only person I can, talk and actually have a good conversation with about films.
Thanks, Gerry. Am I your only hope?
Yes, I guess. Thanks, Obi-Wan. Alright, so see you next time, and I don't know when that is.
And next
Bye.
year, bye-bye. Bye, Gerry. Bye, everyone.